We are debuting my new cardigan today, woo! Just finished casting it off and finished washing it. I didn't finish weaving it all the ends. It's whatever, it's wearable. That's all that counts. We're back with another session of the Gentle Tarot Deck Study Club. Last week we talked about the Suit of Thunder, all these yellow bordered cards here, which is also the Suit of Swords in other tarot decks. And today we're looking at the Suit of Stones or the Suit of Pentacles in other tarot decks. We had a great time focusing on just one suit last time, so today we're focusing on another suit, the Suit of Stones. As usual, the first thing I like to do in these voice chats is to check in with everybody. So for the initial icebreaker activity, I asked everyone to pull some cards that were relevant to them that week, whether these are cards that came up in readings or cards that just really apply to your situation or your week. I just drew the Hermit and the Wheel of Fortune. The main reason is just I've been thinking about my Top Tarot Trumps times Tarot Memoir series again because I finally had some ideas for what the Hermit could mean. And now I'm simmering on what the Wheel of Fortune can mean. I've always had a hard time grasping or understanding what the Wheel of Fortune can mean, especially from a non-predictive perspective. So yeah, I've been simmering on this card for like 24 hours. And then following up on a discussion from last week we had also talked about the Unseen card, the extra major arcana that Mari, the creator, included in this deck, and someone shared a basic spread centering this card that they came up with. You shuffle your deck so that the Unseen card is in your deck, right? And then you look through your deck and you find the Unseen card. Now, the card that is in front of the Unseen card is the card that you are focusing on. And then the card behind the Unseen card is the card that you're not seeing. Calling back to our discussion from last week, where when something is unseen, what are the factors why you are not seeing this, not acknowledging this? Is it actually hidden from you, or is it hidden in plain sight? And what are you focusing on instead that you're not able to see this other thing that seems unseen? So that's a quick spread that I'll share with you today. Again, not that I came up with it, someone else in our voice chat came up with it. All right, now moving on to the meat of the discussion. Today, we spent the entire time just focusing on and discussing the Stones suit. So I want to share the activity that we did. This is from the book 21 Ways to Read a Tarot Card. We looked at activity 6.3. Examine each of the suits in your deck and select 1 to 3 keywords that best express the qualities of each suit. So lay out all the cards in the Stones suit and come up with 1 to 3 keywords that best express the qualities of the Stones suit. If you'd like, you can pause the video right now to glance over the suit and see if you can come up with your own keywords. So the keyword that stayed pretty strong in my mind is the word connected. I see in all these cards that there is a physical connection either to our body or to the tangible things around us. We have these two people that are touching each other. Their feet are tiptoed on the ground, actually not fully touching the ground. So there is connectedness here between each other and the earth. In the Nine of Stones, this person is connected to the tree, feet literally on the tree, leaning their whole body against the tree, one hand even kind of touching the tree. Maybe it's just in the air, but it looks like it could be touching the tree. So there's connection to self, connection to the world around you. In the Seven of Stones, there's also connection here or connectedness here. This pose looks very centered, arms touching their knee, sitting on the ground, being connected with the earth as well. Especially the 10 of Stones, there's really connection here, touching their hands to the earth, and even their head is just blending in with the world around them. Other keywords that really tickle my brain are the keywords of oneness, similar to connected, just being one with the world around us and being one with ourselves. Also, balance of minutia and wholeness, the small things that are in front of us, as well as the big things around us, they are all connected. Even if we only focus on small things or big things, they are really all connected. So there's that balance of minutia and wholeness. Someone pointed out that this suit is very colorful compared to the Thunder suit. The Thunder suit has, I dare say, less colorful backgrounds or more monochromatic backgrounds. So in comparison, there's so many more colors in this Earth suit, in this Stones suit. Ooh, I really like this one. Someone shared the word exercise. And that makes so much sense to me. They shared that it was like exercise your power, so exercising your will and carrying out things outside of you. It reminded me of in school when they teach you some really difficult or abstract or new concepts, the best way to learn them is not to keep theorizing about them, in my opinion, in my experience, the way that I learn. The best way for me to learn about things is to literally try exercises. So math problems as a way to learn math, or writing exercises as a way to literally exercise your writing muscle, exercise your writing creativity. Doing an exercise is very different from, say, doing a project or doing a test where you turn it in, it's the final result, it's done, you're kind of expected to make it perfect. An exercise, it's expected that you might be new to it or it might not turn out perfectly on the first few tries because it's literally just exercise. It's just the action, the movement that matters. And this is really in contrast to the thunder suit. So where the thunder suit is all about mental and logical planning. Let me see, what were some keywords that we shared last time? I shared keywords like processing, passing through or passage. We also had words like perception and imagination. So this is all very, very mental, right? And in comparison, in contrast, the stone suit is all about the tangible. The pentacle suit, the stone suit is all about doing. It doesn't matter if it's perfect. Literally, this is just the suit of action. And not action in a way that like the wands represents action. It's action in that we are literally just doing. Doing without thought, doing without worry about long-term outcomes. So yeah, the word exercise is one of my new favorite words for the stones or the pentacles suit. And then a couple more keywords I'll share. One is globe. So the idea that these stones, yes, they can represent like parts of the earth, but they can also be like little planets in their own way. And that is also making me think about how in space we have these big solid rock balls floating around in space. And there are things that orbit around these things. So in our life, these responsibilities are like their own planets around which other things kind of orbit and pass by. Another keyword was steady, which relates to groundedness and responsibility and resourcefulness, and petrichor. That was an interesting one. Joe shared petrichor because it's something related to the smell in the air after it rains. And here in this Harvest of Stones, there is literally active rain here. Okay, so that was the initial exercise. And then from there, we went on to discuss any cards that stood out to us as being really different from traditional Rider-Waite-Smith tarot. I think we pointed out 3 specific cards that feel really different. So one card is the Four of Stones. A lot of the time in other cards, this person seems almost miserly in a way and not actually secure or confident in themselves. Usually that figure is holding their pentacles all close by. They've got a very close-off pose and a very worried looking face. And in comparison, the face here in this Four of Stones, it is very calm and serene. There's a riverbank here with salmon and cotton flowers, and this person having their hands on these planets, on these stones, they look very serene and very grounded, as opposed to feeling insecure, basically. Another card that we talked about at length was the Five of Stones. This one I did not understand much, or didn't know how to make meaning from, because at first glance, it seems like this card is just fine. I didn't see any of the typical interpretations of someone needing help. Then people pointed out that if we look closer, we can see that there are plastic bags depicted here in the ocean. Mari wrote in the guidebook that she felt it was important to also highlight like the struggles that animals go through, especially because of the things that we do to the earth. People might seem okay on the surface, but we do need to look closer to see the things that are actually affecting them and the areas where they might need help. Also, this person is looking upside down and the scene is underwater. It adds more layers to the symbolism of people or things struggling even if we're not looking at this, because we spend 95% of our time on land and in the air. I hardly spend my time underwater, so I would never really see with my own eyes how much these animals are really struggling. How many times do we kind of assume things are good versus how often do we need to look closer and look at these little details, especially the faded details, the things that they're kind of hiding underneath the surface to see what is actually going on. And this person being upside down too reminds me of the Hanged Man and other cards where the person is upside down, like the Tower even. So upside down also signifies a shift in perspective, possibly surrender as well, since you're letting go of your right side up perspective and looking at a different way of things. And someone said another phrase that I really liked, something that this card can share with the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith imagery. And by that, I mean the typical imagery of like decrepit looking people walking past a stained glass window and usually it's like implied that it's a church who can give so much help. So the phrase that they mentioned is warning against hubris. If you're not careful, you could also be that person who is struggling, who is in need of help. So basically, don't get too big ahead or don't think that you're immune to struggles as well. Like, yes, we might be having the higher ground, as it seems like this person is, over this turtle, because we might not be the ones suffering and struggling like this turtle. But if we are not careful or mindful of ourselves and or how our actions affect others and or not having our own safety nets or foundations built, we could also be, on the other end where we are the ones who are in need of help and service. All right, last card I'll share for now is the Ten of Stones, bringing this back up again. Some things that we pointed out about this card were how simple in composition or how straightforward in composition this looks compared to typical Ten of Pentacles in other Rider-Waite-Smith decks. A lot of the times the Ten of Pentacles will depict like a whole family or generations multiple of people, and that can seem really overwhelming. So I actually really appreciate how non-overwhelming this looks. It's still a busy card. There's so many plants and different elements and like layers to things, but it just seems so much easier for me to visualize and to parse through. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm also seeing bits of the world here with this like planet-looking thing in front of this person. We have the sun here, shining rays, so sun, clarity, and yeah, this person in the middle of the card adds to the idea of feeling really centered and really immersed in the things that you've built. It makes me think about how when you've built your home and your life and values and anything else around you in a way that actually works for you, your home, your life can feel like you. It doesn't feel separate from you anymore. You are your home or your life or your business or whatever you've built because you've built it in a way that really works for you. And then we wanted to also discuss the court cards because I feel like I understand courts well in other decks, but in this deck, I really struggled. Okay, let's look at the Harvest of Stones first, because that's what I looked at first last time, the Harvest of Thunder. So last time, I was curious about how the Harvest of Thunder could be depicted this way. For a king, a harvest, supposedly the last card of the suit, they are not standing up, they're sitting down, and it gives a different idea of being regal and being in charge. So now in the Harvest of Stones, we see this musk ox who has a little BB with it, is taken care of. There's also active rain in the card. Oh, both of these cards also feature a rainbow here. Whereas the Harvest of Thunder is in sunlight, the Harvest of Stones is in rain. Clarity, calm after the storm almost with the Harvest of Thunder, whereas in the Harvest of Stones, maybe the storm is happening. Maybe the storm is at its tail end as well, since the rainbow is coming out. Christine shared how the musk ox apparently is one of those animals where they will herd the weak and the unhealthy ones of them into the middle of the herd so that the healthy ones on the outside can protect them against predators. So there's the idea of group protection with the musk ox representing the Harvest of Stones here. That goes back to what we were discussing earlier about struggles, right? And helping each other where we can and having to look closer to, help people where they might need help. In the guidebook, Mari also explains that musk oxen don't migrate like caribou do, so they stick where they are. They have the coats to be able to withstand the colder environments. Again, we see rain happening here, so this musk ox is not going anywhere. They're here even if it's raining. And a question that we could ask using this symbolism is, am I being stubborn? Am I being stuck? Should I be going somewhere else? Or am I grounded? Am I actually fine here? Yes, things may be hard, but I am grounded. I'm committed. I'm meant to be here. I'm making this work for me. There's this idea of sticking it through, even though it might be hard. And then the Flower of Stones, we talked about, someone shared how to them at first sight, it might not seem like that much of a happy card. Like, what if this bear is actually like in trouble? And I'm sure in some contexts, you could see this part of the card. Like, even though this card wants you to think that this bear is serene, or even if other people are perceiving you as being serene and having it all and seeming all right, on the inside, maybe you do feel like you only have one thing to latch onto right now and you're kind of floating in water. But the intent of this card that I'm seeing is that there is a vibe of serenity and feeling secure. Bears do hunt for fish, and so this bear is in the water where there is plenty of fish, not depicted here because the bear maybe ate them all, but the bear, it is in the water where there's plenty of food. They're around this plants. It's very luscious. It almost feels like a different kind of serenity and abundance than in the Empress card. The bear in this card is named Chocolate Thunder, and the bear is also depicted in the Chariot. And apparently, this bear is so skilled that she can catch 2 salmon in one go. That's really skilled. The duality of bear, right? When she's not out catching salmon and being super fierce and on top of her game, she's able to just rest. She's earned it. I mean, you don't even need to earn rest. So scratch that. The way that the eyes are drawn on this bear is so cute, and I really love the extra markings around the eyes. It just makes her look so sweet. The Root of Stones, I didn't have much to say about this. I just noticed how in all of these other cards, the animal was the main focus of the card, and they're so big and centered in the card. Whereas this Root of Stones, this little buggy is very small compared to the flowers around them. So that makes me think about getting lost in the smaller details, the small pictures of whatever we're working on. We don't need to look at the big picture. All we can do is just focus on the little petals, the little one, I forgot what the middle of the flower is called. The immediate flower middle in front of us right now. There's time to worry about the rest of that stuff later. This card is all about focusing on what's right in front of us. And lastly, the Seed of Stones. This really sweet deer. I was very curious why this deer was eating what turns out to be fireweed. I was joking. Oh, it's always fireweed. Here's the Seed of Thunder that we talked about last week. An interesting animal fact that someone shared about the Seed of Stones, about the deer here, is that deer will start stumbling and walking right away, right after they're born. Human babies, we are not walking for many months after we're born. But deer, here they are walking along and stumbling. They clearly don't know how to fully walk yet, and yet they're still here trying. And that's reminding me of the key word we came up with earlier, of exercise. Like how I mentioned, exercise isn't about being perfect, like a test or a project, getting like the highest grade. Exercise is literally just about exercising something that you might or might not already know. So just like this deer is exercising its ability to walk, we too, when we embody the Seed of Stones or Page of Pentacles energy, we can also just try things out, even if we're not good at them. The point of the seeds, especially the Seeds of Stones, is just to try things out. Yeah, what a beautiful, fun animal fact to associate with the Page of Pentacles here. The choice to use animals to represent some cards like this is so fascinating. I just have to say it again, like I just am really grateful for this deck study that we are doing together. Now I'm able to parse through this information and just engage with other people. It's just really scratching a lot of itches. The tarot itch, the studying itch, and the socialization itch. So that was our deck study chat for the day. Like I mentioned, we were just so engrossed in this suit that we just didn't have room for much other discussion. But this took like a good hour and a half. It was really fulfilling. So looking ahead, the next study session, we will talk about the Wands suit. And then the session after that, we will talk about the Cups. And then we'll have maybe like 4 or 5 more sessions before we end at the end of the year. If you would like to join us in our deck study chats, feel free to check the description. I will have the information about the Discord server. It's just a wonderful, wonderful deck study, and I appreciate everyone who keeps showing up week after week to chat together. What a fun time. Okay, well, that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. Bye!